Okay, we're getting ready to replace the timing belt on our 2001 Isuzu Rodeo. Now, one thing you'll notice right off the bat is the hood's gone. I basically took it off so you can get a better idea of the procedure as it goes along. There's two different engine types. One is the inline four-cylinder, then there's also the V6. Now, both models use a timing belt, and there is a replacement interval for both. Now, what's important about that is this. You don't want the timing belt to break. Well, in worst-case scenario like our Isuzu here, this is an interference engine. What that means is if the timing belt breaks, there's a good chance that extreme damage is going to happen to the engine. The manufacturer sets a mileage interval for these timing belts to be replaced. Well, like, for example, on our Isuzu, it's 60,000 miles. Now, if you didn't know what the interval was or whether or not your engine is an interference engine, you can contact the folks at AutoZone, and they'd be more than happy to look it up for you. We've already went past our 60,000 mile interval on this vehicle. It's in the 70,000s, so it's definitely time for it to be replaced. In order to replace the timing belt, there's a couple things we want to do first. Right off the bat, you want to disconnect your negative cable. I'm going to go a step farther and just get the battery out of the way to get a little bit more view of what we're doing inside the engine compartment. The second thing I need to do, there's a wiring harness that runs across the front of the timing belt area. This will have to come off in order to get the cover off. It runs over here. There's a disconnect plugs on this side of the engine bay. I'm going to go ahead and take the air cleaner housing off and get the air tube out of the way so we can get a good look at what we have down there. So let's get started. First off, let's take the battery out. And you always want to remove the negative cable first. Then we can remove the positive. Okay, now the wiring harness is out of the way. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and take off the electric fan, the fan shroud assembly. That'll give me a lot more room inside this area. Okay, that really opened up our area right here. Now the next thing we want to do is go ahead and take the drive belt off, but before I do though, I've got a crankshaft pulley that's going to have to come off in order to change the timing belt. There's 4 bolts to hold that in place. Before I take the drive belt off, I want to go ahead and see if I can loosen those 4 bolts, then I can take the drive belt off, then I can take the pulley off. Okay, the crankshaft pulley bolts are loose, now I can go ahead and take the drive belt out of the way. Okay, there's our drive belt. And although we're going to replace the timing belt on this is a good time to check the other items that we're taking off and go ahead and make any repairs. And this is a good example right there. We have a bunch of cracks in our drive belt, so it's time for this to be replaced. So when it all goes back together, we'll put a new belt on it. Well, the crankshaft bolts are already broken loose, so we'll go ahead and take off the crankshaft pulley next. And then we can go ahead and take off the timing belt cover. Okay, there's our timing belt assembly. What we want to do right now is just do a quick, visual inspection of everything in here. What we're looking at, we've got the 2 cams, the intake and exhaust camshafts, and you can see the sprockets on those. There's our timing belt, and as you can tell, it's still in one piece, but it's loose. If you have an application like this where the water pump is driven by the timing belt, at the same time you do the timing belt replacement, go ahead and do the water pump replacement, especially with this being an interference engine. If down the road the water pump should fail, chances are the timing belts can either slip, come off, or break, and if that happens on this engine, the engine's destroyed. Well, ours is all in good shape. The belt is still in one piece, except it is the replacement interval. It's kind of hard to tell by looking at the belt if it's good or bad. That's what's not like the drive belt where you can see the cracks in it. On the timing belt, by looking at it, it looks good, but you can't go by that. You just go by the mileage interval. We're going to go ahead and replace the timing belt. We're also going to go ahead and replace the water pump. Once we have the build out of the way, we'll go ahead and check all the rest of our pulleys, make sure everything looks okay. Like, for example, if you would have like a seal leaking on a camshaft, this would be the time to go ahead and replace that as well. Ours is all dry in front. The next step to do now is go ahead and open up our drain on our radiator, drain the coolant out, and then we can start taking it apart. Remember to remove the radiator cap before draining the coolant. As with any job, to do it right, you'll need the right tools. The nice thing is that jobs today don't require a large, expensive assortment. Basic hand tools are generally all you'll need. In cases where a specialty tool is required, be sure to check with AutoZone's Loan a Tool program. They have many specialty tools that can help you complete your job a lot quicker and easier. The first things you'll need are a socket set, torque wrench, drop light, drain pan, and a repair manual for your specific vehicle. You may also need screwdrivers or pliers to remove some components.
Be cautious when working under the hood. If the engine has been running, components will be extremely hot, so be careful what you touch. When working around a running engine, it is important to be alert and never wear loose clothing or a necktie that can get tangled in belts, pulleys, or the fan. When lifting a vehicle, never work under it until it has been secured with wheel blocks and securely positioned on jack stands. A hydraulic jack alone is never enough. Be cautious when working with oils and chemicals. Many are damaging to the groundwater environment and toxic to people and animals. Never drain or pour chemicals into the ground or sewer systems. Local municipalities and counties offer resources for proper disposal. And always remember to wear your safety glasses.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Get the entire DVD for this repair and all other procedures covered in the Complete Car Care series at your local AutoZone store.